one of the last necessities before deer camp. Got to be able to review that footage. Loaded down, headed out. See everybody at camp. Opening weekend. It's a weekend we all wait for, 9 months out of the year. To still have 3 generations of Bracken's boys in camp, grandfather, son, and grandson, while being accompanied by our good friends and our partners is something special. Everyone's deer camp has that certain feeling about it. These are just a couple things that we are thankful for. After watching an emergency helicopter landing get set up in our road next to camp, to find out a guy fell out of his tree stand and 2 hours after dark, they found him to go out and rescue him. The night before opening day, it made all of us a little more cautious heading into the woods the next day. Made us tug that step one more time, make sure that strap is good around the platform. It was just an all-around eerie feeling the next day. So remember, tree stand and climbing safety is something to be cautious of at all times. You never know if you're coming back out of the woods you went in. The first hunt in Michigan, which is our home state, was a little bit of a crazy start with all that happening the night before. The next morning, the hitch assembly fell apart on the boat trailer, and Pops and the old man had a setback till the afternoon hunt. The old man and Pops have put in over 100 miles of the season scouting. Yes, the old man. He's 76 and still saddle hunting with a compound at that. These two guys have worked their absolute tails off, from boots to the ground to hours of podcast. It was time to put their scouting and studying to the test. Pops was the first guy to have some action, and here it is. Check it out.
What's up, guys? Opening day 2023. Dad and I had a couple issues with the boat this morning. We didn't make it out. But I'm gonna make this short and sweet. I've got deer moving all around me. I'm in a little draw with a little drainage ditch. I'm using that for my thermals in the evening. And a ridge, a thick bedding area going up. They're coming down off that ridge, eating on acorns. They're dropping heavy. They're burrow, but I've already had 2 of them in here eating on them. And I hear a couple more walking. So I'm really confident about my setup. Thick bedding area all around me. Like I say, with the ridge going up with like a little draw coming down, and they're bedding up on that ridge, and I'm just hoping I've got the right setup. Now I just need the right deer. So let's see what happens. tell exactly where it was at. It looked like it might have been a touchback. I couldn't tell. Alright, I got the shakes down.
What did you do?
You got me a good one.
All right, Dan.
Yeah. I created some havoc tonight.
Absolutely. Give us a quick rundown.
Okay, well, this is a spot me and Dad, we actually found it in the spring. It's a big long hill that goes up with a creek that just, not even really a creek, just a drainage ditch, but it's got a little bit of flowing water. And it's just big oaks in there. At that time, we didn't know what kind of oak. I knew they were white or bur. They were, so I get set up tonight after we checked everything. And then I come back, I got everything set up, and within 5 minutes, I didn't even have time to do a pre-hunt interview or anything. I had deer on me. I had does in there eating on acorns.
So you're hunting a big drainage system coming off of high ag going down to low ground.
Yeah, and it looks like at one point it's like two of them that come into one and goes out to the big swamp, out to the river.
And you were hunting the point of them?
Yeah.
Nice.
And so after a couple of does came through, I had a couple of them come behind me, and I thought they might have got my wind. They weren't right where I came in. I was up a little farther, but I thought because my thermals were pulling down and they were behind me, so I figured I hope they don't get my thermals. At that time, I had a little buck right underneath of me, probably 5 yards. Knew I wasn't going to shoot him, and I'm trying to watch the does behind me a little bit because I'm not that interested in him. And I don't see them anymore. Then there's another buck I see come across the creek. He jumps across the creek. I got a good look on him. I said, that looks like a pretty good buck. I checked the camera. I still got good light. And he slowly made his way out there. Then I seen another buck on the other side of the little ditch. I could tell it was a buck. I just couldn't tell how big. He was in the shadows too much.
And that's a, look at that. Take the dirt off, you could use it the way it is.
Okay guys, we're out here, we're going to recover the buck that I just shot with my Havoc Hercules arrow. I shoot the 350 spine, and my Havoc Hoss 150. I had multiple bucks in right at last light. It was still good filming light. I was able to get the shot at one. I felt he was 80 to 100 inches, might be a little more. I mean, right in that area, good Michigan public land buck. And made it look like a really good shot on him. I watched him, he just kind of like, I hit him right here, here's the arrow. And he did like a little U right here, and it gets back to thicket over here, and right over here is where a little, I don't want to say little drainage ditch is. But I think he went up in there about 40 yards or so and piled up. I didn't hear him crash, but we went back and replayed the video and stuff. Everybody thinks it looks like more than likely probably a good heart shot. There's some bubbles in it and stuff, and I just wanted the other guy's opinion on it before we started in on him. I just want to make sure we give him plenty of time. So we're getting ready to go after him right now.
Tell us what you think. A little bit low, a little bit back, but we all still feel like it's a dead deer to this day. After an hour and a half of looking for blood, looking for running tracks, looking for any sign of this deer, we just grid searched as much as we could within that 80-yard radius, and we couldn't find him. It was so thick and nasty that, you know, we felt like we had to get a dog. So we called Daryl from Committed Deer Tracking and our good friend Oakley. She's done a couple tracks for our friends, and she's been awesome. So we decided let's get Oakley in on this one and let her do what we couldn't. Oakley sees it.
Talk to us.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 1
us. Yeah, it's not looking good. The shot looked good on video. The arrow was just completely just coated in blood from the knock to where it was in the dirt. I mean, it was just coated with blood. Had blood at impact and just got into a briar thicket. It's so thick a rabbit can't crawl through, and just couldn't find any blood. We looked for an hour and a half last night, so we decided to call in the blood dog and see what happens, you know. Hopefully everything works out. If not, chalk it up to, but one thing I'm trying to stay focused on, and I've learned from all the podcasts listening to, you can't let the downs make you stay down. You got to find a reason to stay positive and keep grinding. So we'll see what happens with the dog.
It's been about, what, an hour with the dog so
Yeah,
far, and
somewhere in there.
they've hit a couple different tracks, but nothing super hot.
It's tough to stay positive, but you got to do your best. Like I say, from all the guys that got a lot more experience than me doing this, you're going to have rough times. You're going to have times you feel just not like doing it anymore. But you got to find that reason to keep going. So you got to dig deep sometimes, guys.
So honestly, after looking at this whole situation, with that video, I really thought it looked good. I really truly thought we were going to come here today and half hour we're going to stand over your deer. But having an experienced dog and watching the way that she's not interested in this track, going back and reassessing your arrow, really looking at that, as much as I want the deer to be dead and I want to go find it, I really truly do not believe it is. It'd be different if we had a younger dog, maybe less experienced, whatever, but the way the dog knows there's not a prize at the end of that trail, the dog's not going to lie. They want to find it. That's their reward.
Yep. And like I say, I know that from years of coon hunting. That dog, when he's on a track and we used to give him like a small coon or something like that, he would grab that coon, he would not let go, he would carry it to the truck. I know exactly what you're saying.
They want to find it, and as much as I would love to, at the end of the day, I think you're going to see this deer again. I really do.
I'm hoping so, because like I say, from all my years of hunting, I've got over 50 years experience. I've always known the no-kill zone towards the top of the deer, but we all know this is educational even for me a little bit. I've just learned a little bit more in my anatomy of the deer, guys, that only so far back, the lungs come back, then they angle up at an angle. They don't just come all the way back. And we think what happened is right behind the lung, right there, where that starts to go up at that angle, I think I got just underneath the lung and the liver, and it just went through the cavity, and it was coated with blood, went through the deer like hot butter. And I just think I just got underneath of where that lung and liver is. I think another inch higher and I'd have been good.
And that's one of those things where, and especially with this, we even had video to look at, because so many hunters don't have video. And in the heart of the moment, you're like, oh man, I know I hit it really good. And I know myself, I've went and recovered deer, I'm like, wow, that is not where I thought I hit them.
Right.
And even with video, and even with slowing it down and trying to, at the end of the day, sometimes you just don't know.
Right.
And the dog won't lie to you.
Right. When I was doing the video right after I shot, I wasn't even like doing my after hunt or anything. It was just after I just watched a deer run away. The camera's still facing down where the deer was at, and I can hear myself say, I think I got him a little back. You can actually hear that on the camera. So, but I wanted to, when I played it back and watched it, like you say, that very first time, but I think the angle and everything is deceiving. The tip's going in here, but the knock looks like it's up here.
Yes.
And not until that, so you slow it down and you see exactly where that knot goes through, but you have to really slow it down. You can see it's actually lower than what you thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy that how many people did we, contact that thought this was a dead deer. It's just goes to show that you never know.
Right.
And then the one thing I'm going to say, I don't care what broadhead you use, guys.
Any of them.
Any of them. The broadhead, you can't blame a broadhead on something like this. It was totally shot placement.
It's funny you said, 'cause we were just talking about that a little earlier. No matter what you use, it all comes down to the deer has to be hit in a vital spot that's going to kill it, no matter what.
The broadhead can't do its job if you don't put it where it needs to be. I don't care what broadhead it is.
Yeah.
And like we say, going back and all of the replaying it back over and over, slow and slow, I think I just missed it. At first, it looked like it was good, but everybody here and the way the dog's acting and everything like that, like you said, this is a very experienced dog. Numerous tracks under its belt, years of experience. We just think this deer is going to live to see another day.
He said he wouldn't be surprised if we get it on camera in a couple days.
Yeah, I would say a week, but I'll
Yeah.
be more surprised if you don't see it again than if you do. Ain't no different than when I hired a guy and we come out and tracked my shoulder shot. We tracked it completely the heck out of that swamp, gone. At that time I thought, man, you wounded deer, it's not coming back forever, it just left. But over years of experience and doing 700 tracks, now I've realized most of the time the deer goes back home. It's just like a person. If you're sick, you don't feel good, you're a little under the weather, whatever, you just want to go home. And if you have multiple pictures of this deer before this shot, and this is where it lives, chances are it's coming back home.
Right. And that's all the podcasts and everything we listen to with all the guys that big name hunters and stuff that hunt public land and stuff like that. They say that a lot of times a deer, generally, even if something happens, they only leave for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Then they come back home.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, there's a lot of talk and stuff like that about if you spook a deer, he ain't coming back. You lost that deer forever.
Yeah.
And
I don't believe it.
I don't believe that's true. I believe that deer, he stays in his home range. He may leave for a day or something like that, but overall, I mean, he may bed in just a little bit different spot, but he's going to be in that
Still
general
same
core
range.
area.
Yeah, I agree.
Usually within a mile.
It wasn't that we didn't believe what Oakley told us or that we thought they were wrong or anything like that. It was just we've continued to watch the shot over and over, and we feel like he at least hit the back of a lung and a part of the liver, but we've continued to look, and so we sent Daryl, who lives a lot closer to the public than us, out, and he's seen 8 buzzards flying into one spot and dropping down and coming back up, dropping down and coming back up. So I drove an hour and 20 minutes that night, and this was about 2 days later, and went and looked, and this is my result.
It's like day 4 of looking for Pop's buck. And Daryl lives like 20 minutes closer to the public than we do. Or Daryl lives 20 minutes from the public land that we're hunting, and we live like an hour to, and I live an hour and 20 minutes. So Daryl drove out and was looking for buzzards from the road in the area that we were boating into. You can see a long ways back from the road. He's seen like 7 or 8 birds flying around in this corner that I'm walking around in. And he said they were dipping down in the trees and going back up. Dipping down the trees and going back up. So I had made the hour and 20 minute drive, flew out here to look around one last time, and I don't know, I kicked 2 birds out of the tree. I couldn't tell if they were turkey or buzzards, but no deer yet. Just unreal, man. That shot looked to be fatal. It looked like, to all of us on our staff, it looked like back of a first lung and the bottom of the liver on the opposite side. But, you know, lighted knocks are deceiving. A lot of things are deceiving, so it's really hard to know if it is fatal or not until maybe we get him back on camera, maybe we see him again, or we find him dead. So we've definitely put in our work to find this deer. We've put in probably, at least 7 miles on our boots, and plus adding to that today, and multiple canoe or boat rides, and it's just dog. We've paid for a dog to get in here. We've done everything we can do. So it's a part of the game, but we're definitely giving it our all to find this deer. It's a damn good buck. We all want them bad. I think I might want them a little bit. This is not gonna say more, but just as bad as my dad does. I'm freaking just drove an hour and a half after work to try and find this deer. I don't know, it's not looking good.
even with all the effort that we've put in at this point, we're going to give it one last effort and go up and down the river in the area that he shot this deer in the boat. We think that Daryl was losing sight of the birds dropping down, and we're going to go up and down the river with the boat and see if we can get an eye on exactly where those birds are and go right in on them. If there are, buzzards on them, then we'll take a walk and walk up to where they are and see if it is the dead deer. But if not, then we've given it our all, and that's all there is to the story. It's just a game of inches with bow hunting, and this just seems to be 1 inch out of the game. So close.